My dad demanding money. For context, I'm in college. I still live with my parents and offered to pay rent but they declined. I buy myself lunch and breakfast and only eat dinner about half the time. Anyways, I'm working several jobs, 2 paying, 2 volunteer, along with classes and starting my own business. I'm not lazy. At most, I make about $350 to $400 USD a month. My father thinks I make around $200 US monthly. These estimates are before tax and loans, so I usually get about a third of this to buy myself food and do whatever else I want with it. Anyways, on to the actual events. My father has been complaining that I buy things without telling him. It's my money, but whatever, he's the account holder, so I figured I'll go along with it. I decide to write out everything that I want to buy for fun in the next 8 to 12 months. It comes out to about $1,100 US, which is a lot, but I make about $3,000 a year. I posted it on my door and not even give minutes pass before I hear fumbling and then he slams open the door. I jump up, because WTF. He says, "Hey, if you're making this kind of money." Then he holds out his hand and snaps his fingers to his palm in a gimme motion. I say, "Dad, you know that's for the next year or more." "Yeah, but I don't get that kind of money." Firstly, that's bull. My dad's job pays the bills and food and everything by itself, while my mom's job is entirely for fun stuff. Secondly, I later ask him, "I thought you didn't want rent. I can start paying." He cuts me off and insists I don't pay rent, however, also insists I give him fun money since I'm clearly making so much. I know this isn't super insane, but seriously? He thinks I make $200 a month and insists I give him $60 a month. Not because I live in his house. No, just because he's my dad. Edit, I didn't come here to complain or ask for advice or pity. I don't want that. I see this sub as a warning of how to not raise kids. This is a great example of what not to do. It's a story from my life and I want nothing more than people to learn from it. Please do not continue to advise me on what to do. I know what I can do, but as to what I should do, that is a decision I have to make on my own. With 2 jobs, even part-time, how are you making so little a month? Dang dude. Sadly, it's possible. At my old part-time job I knew a girl who was part-time like I was, and the hours we got differed. We were both full-time students, so our hours would fluctuate week to week. Some weeks she would only work 1 shift that was 5 hours, sometimes she would work multiple shifts that added up to about 22 hours a week. There really wasn't a way of knowing how many hours one would get, so she decided to get another part-time job just for more hours, but sometimes it was the same thing, so even though she worked 2 part-time jobs she still would get little hours in both sometimes, so she would make very little. You're in college, you work 2 part-time jobs, volunteer for 2, and you're starting your own business, but you don't have a bank account. Your checks go through your father? The money you have coming in goes through your father. Why would he put his hand out like you have to pay him when he could just take it off the top? It sounds like you're schooling your father on accounting, but he's the one paying the bills. I'm sure he knows how much you make because it all goes through him. All goes through him. BS story emo. If you're as motivated as you say you are and half as smart as you're portraying, housing wouldn't be an issue. There are plenty of services out there. I'm pleased I wasn't the only one who thought BS when reading this. Even if it is partially true, there are definitely details missing from this. I never paid rent, but I gave money all the same. My granddad, who I lived with, told me I needed to give X amount, but it wasn't rent, or board as we say in the UK, he didn't want that. Years later, when I eventually left home, he told me to check my balance and he'd transferred every penny. The point in that is that up is either missing a point or his father has reasoning. I think it's more entitled kid than entitled parent.